worst of
We
your
are
days,
live,
be the worst
everybody.
of your
Welcome to
tomorrows.
the Ohana High Five Tribe Show with a special guest. And we're going to be doing a little dancing for you. Ready? Here we go.
Here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got free pass. Here's to the fact that I'll be sad without you. I want you to have it all.
Best song ever. Brought to you by our special guest, Lisa Letwin.
We're back.
We're back. Take two.
Can you hear us?
Whoop, whoop.
Can you hear us now?
If you can hear us, give us a shout out in the comment section and give us a little whoop whoop. Welcome, Lisa. I'm so glad you could be with us today. It's such a joy to reconnect with you. Lisa is one of my Army friends that we met way back in the military, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah. We haven't aged a bit.
Nope.
So before we get started, I'm going to read a little quick bio. It's full of surprise. Are you ready? Here we go. Lisa Letwin isn't afraid of out-of-the-box experiences and has been described as a little bit woo. She loves to geek out on science, actually enjoys a matcha tea latte, and finds human beings and their stories fascinating. Ooh. She has a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and has studied body talk and Reiki. Lisa has been on peacekeeping mission in Bosnia and has worked in a women's federal prison. She's birthed her second child at home and has jumped out of a perfectly good airplane. Yes, she was skydiving. Lisa is not afraid to work herself out of a job because she always knows there's something better around the corner. She believes everyone deserves to live a turned on and thriving life in and out of the bedroom. In this chapter of her life, Lisa supports women to pleasure, power, and wholeness using sexuality and embodiment as tools. She blends warmth, knowledge, and insights with playfulness and curiosity. Thank you for all you do, Lisa, to support people on their journey. Welcome to the show.
Do we know if this is actually on now? I haven't seen any comments. Have you?
Yes, we have one comment. We got a little whoop whoop. Here we go.
Thank you.
Whoop, whoop. Christine is in the house. Shout out, Christine.
Christine.
Yeah.
Because we don't mind just talking to ourselves, but that wasn't the point of getting together.
Yes. So it's nice that, Christine, you can make it. A big shout out. And Lisa's here, and we're going to chit-chat about all kinds of good stuff. So, Lisa, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and what led you to this work?
Yeah. Take two. So I just want to start off by saying that I've had the joy and the pleasure of developing a more deeply connected and rich relationship, both with my body and with a partner, and that I love that I get to do this work. Thanks, Chantel. I get to talk about sexuality. I get to create a safe container to talk about things that, and it's not like, I think women do talk about sex, just not necessarily in a way that's productive.
Okay.
I remember having a client say that it's great that we can talk to our girlfriends maybe about what's, depending on who your girlfriends are, about what's happening in our lives, but our girlfriends don't necessarily have a way out.
Okay.
Right. So I love the work I do, and I love that I can show people, and especially women, how it relates to you being a whole human being. So on my wedding day, I had a yeast infection. And what happened was I actually had quite a few yeast infections when I was with that particular person in my life. And I don't know if this is the same for you, but when I get sick or in the past when I've had troubles with my body, I get a little bit frustrated with my body. If there's a medication I need to take, I'll take the medication and just leave it at that, not get curious about why am I getting so many yeast infections.
Yeah.
So then we were married and we had a daughter. And if you've had kids, I was touched out. All of my time and energy, I was breastfeeding, so extra time and energy was going into this little human being. Nobody taught me how to be a wife as well as a mother. I thought I could multitask. I didn't do so well. And so the end of the day would come, and the pattern that my husband and I had fallen into was that by the time my daughter was asleep and by the time he approached me, I really just wanted to be studying the inside of my eyelids. But that's usually when he approached me and said, let's have sex. So if you've ever had somebody who's had more energy than you, whether it's a child who wants a particular toy or candy, they're freaking persistent, right?
Yes.
And if they have more energy than you, they can wear you down. So that's what typically happened for my husband and I. He was very persistent, and so he would wear me down. And just to be clear, I do enjoy sex. It was just that I was tired and it was the last thing I actually wanted to do. So, but the beauty was that when I would say yes, I would essentially warm up and then be in the mood, and it was okay. Except for this one time, which actually happened to be the last time. So, talking about being touched out with my daughter was almost like my on switch was off. But in this one time when we were having sex, that on switch never came on. I never warmed up to what we were doing. And it was almost as if there was a deeper off switch. And I remember very distinctly, I felt it in my body. Yeah, it was a very interesting moment because it really got my attention, but not enough that I knew what to do with it. So my husband and I never talked about what happened that night. We actually never had sex after that. And within 3 months, I had moved out and we were separated.
Oh my.
So I was a single mom. I was working shift work. Then I found out I was pregnant with our son. So now I'm raising 2 kids, and I was alive, so I still had that spark of life in me. But I remember looking at pictures during that time, and I really just looked a bit like a drained husk compared to who I know that I am now and where I am in my life. But I didn't know any better again. So I just put my head down and put my head into parenting. I was not interested in being in a relationship. I certainly did not want a penis in a relationship. I did not want to be penetrated. To me, it was his fault. He broke my trust in him. Okay. Then it was the end of 2015. And I was like, there's got to be more than this. This is okay, but this is surviving. And I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive. And I was in a course where we were being encouraged to write a vision for our life. And in that course, I met a life coach. And I knew that my vision, and especially the relationship part of my vision, I left quite blank and quite empty. Yeah. And I knew I wanted more. And I knew that I needed to be working one-on-one with somebody where that person could look me in the eye. I couldn't hide in a group. And she would believe in me. She would support me. And I know I just do better when I have riverbanks, is how I like to call it. I get to be the river, but I need riverbanks. Yes. So we started working together, and by not even a year, so I'd say probably 9 months, I had an amazing relationship in my life. Oh, so yeah, it was phenomenal, and life was amazing. And I was so grateful for the work that we were doing together. I was so grateful for her training. And then Mother's Day that same year, so we're kind of backtracking a little bit, my mom gave me a book called Goddesses Never Age by Christian Northrup. Now, Christian Northrup's writings now are a little bit more geared towards postmenopausal women, But at the same time, it's valuable information for anybody, because largely women have received the conditioning that once we're not making babies anymore, we dry up and we're husks. All parts of us, right? I don't want to buy into that. I'm not interested in that narrative, right? I want to be juicy and alive, turned on my whole life, whether I'm in a relationship or not.
Yeah.
And so there was a chapter on sexuality. It reminded me that when I was in university, one elective that I took was human sexuality. When I heard that there was that course, there was no question to me that that was the course I wanted to take. I find humans, I find us fascinating.
Yes.
and how everything that we come into contact with in our life really molds who we are and how we respond or react to things. So it woke that up in me again.
Nice.
And so I started following the two ladies that were specifically mentioned in the group who work in the realm of sexuality. And it got me thinking, okay, I like this work. I like talking about it. I like thinking about it. I like reading about it. And I really did love the life coaching. And I thought, but there was kind of something missing to it. And maybe the sexuality piece was the piece that was missing.
Oh, I see.
So 2016, I got an email from the one woman I was following, and she says, hey, guess what? I'm launching a coaching certification. And my whole body was like,
ding, ding.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I wanted to do this in the world, but this is an option and I'm going to dive into it. And I mean, regardless
you felt it.
Yeah. And regardless of what I could do with other people, I knew that it would be very good for me to do the work for myself. So some of the amazing things that I learned in the program were our body has agency and wisdom. She has a yes, she has a no, she has a maybe. But did I know what those felt like or sounded like? You know, our bodies talk to us in many different ways, and each person will perceive it in a different way. So it was about really fine tuning that, right? When we listen to our inner wisdom, it's not the loud, scary voice that's beaking off in our brain all the time. It's a really quiet and very calm, confident
it's like a
voice.
whisper, a little
very
whisper.
much so.
Yeah.
And so what I learned was that when I listened to that whisper, I was never steered wrong. Even if listening to the whisper and taking action on the whisper meant doing something that was incredibly uncomfortable or that seemed to go against what I had just committed to. So that was a really, really cool, interesting part of the course. And I just went blank. There was another part that I really loved. Oh, the other thing that I realized, go ahead.
No, I just say it's fascinating. Like you're listening to your body, like the body talks, and we don't take the time to listen. Really, we just keep going and not listening. Okay.
Oh, I have a broken leg. I'll go get it splinted, and we'll take care of you later. Gotcha. But why did I break my leg? Yeah. The other piece was that. Oh, see, I lost it again. Give me a second; it'll come back.
All good.
Maybe it won't. So we were talking about agency. Oh, about the trust. I realized that it wasn't that I had lost trust in my husband, but that my body had lost trust in me.
Oh.
I wasn't protecting her. I wasn't listening to her. I wasn't honoring what she was saying. And she's like, if you're not going to listen to me, we're out.
Wow.
And
Checked
so,
out.
Yeah. And so it was a little bit difficult to realize that. I mean, there was relief to realize that, but it was like, oh, all the fingers are pointing back at me. It was because I knew that somehow I was part of the problem in our relationship, but I just couldn't figure it out, right? I was too immersed in it. So learning that was like, whoa. And I mean, there were so many other things, but yeah, we totally listened to everybody but ourselves.
Very true, Christine.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
The part that I would suggest that might be missing is that we don't filter what other people are saying. We don't feel how it lands in our bodies or measure it against our internal, is this for me or is this not for me meter.
Okay.
if that makes sense. Because sometimes I do need to hear it from somebody else, or sometimes I need to say it to somebody else. I'm like, oh, that is so more for me. I mean, not that it wouldn't serve the other person, but I need to listen to what I'm saying right now, because I'm reminding myself of something I've forgotten.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Was there anything else, or we can talk about sex and life coach? Why did you pick that?
Yeah. So the training that I took is called Sex, Love, and Relationship Coach. And I mean, really, the sky's the limit on what I call myself. And it just felt, I call it mental masturbation, trying to pick words that would fit.
Yeah.
But what I believe, I don't know if it's 100% true, is that when I lead with sex and only sex, a lot of people will literally shut down. So if I explain more that these are tools we use, and that it's not about you getting, like, my business is fully online and we talk like this or on the phone. So it's not like we both get naked and we talk on the phone. Like that's not what these sessions. No, that's not what these sessions are about. And it's not like you have sex with your partner and I watch and I blow the whistle and say, no. No. My superpower is working with you one-on-one to find out what's going on for you, what's true for you, and help you, guide you. Like, I'll offer tools and suggestions, but it's ultimately, you need to take it in through your filters, through your truth meter, and take what works for you and leave the rest. And so I'm here to create that safe container and to hold it for you so that you can relax and trust and surrender, which allows you to start to peel back those layers that we're frankly terrified of looking at.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, thank you for explaining it. And I just noticed on your signature on the computer that you put she, her besides your name. Can you explain a little bit that? I'm just curious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but we know as time goes on that pronouns are more important. And just because I was born female and my sex is female doesn't mean I identify as female. I do. And so, number one, it's to let other people know that if they would prefer me to call them a different pronoun, that please let me know, and I will. It's really important for me to call people by their names and pronounce it properly and all the good stuff. So why wouldn't I do the same for pronouns?
Nice. Well, thank you for expanding on that. And
thank you for asking.
And then say a woman isn't in a relationship, so they don't feel they would benefit from your coaching. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say to them that why are you here on this planet?
Oh,
we all arrived here because of sex.
Yep.
We are in a physical body because of sex. And so it's undeniable, we are sexual beings. Now, does that mean, so usually when people hear sexual beings, we think of the behavior or the act of sex. It's so much more than that. I mean, one of my favorite stories is flirting. So when we talk about flirting, how many of us think that means you're trying to sleep with somebody? And it's not. Sometimes it is. But if you think of flirting, tell me that you've never had an experience where you've looked at a baby and a baby was totally flirting with you. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think that baby's trying to have sex with you. It's about a connection. It's about sharing life force energy, right? It's life. The reason we're alive is life is flowing through us. Life is sexual energy. So it's about this energy trying to connect with itself. If that's within your beliefs or with another person, we need to connect. That's how we understand who we are. That's how we know where we want to be in the world. It totally happens in relationship. And the first relationship is with ourselves and with our body. Did I answer that? Because I could,
Yeah.
feel like I kind of vomit.
No, I mean,
a little bit.
there's so much we got to talk about. But like just you said, like when you bring up the topic sexuality, people respond to it. And I personally want to I want to shed light on those tough topics like mental health, addiction, because addiction is a symptom. Like there's more to everything. There's more to it, right? And sexuality is such an important part of life. And it's like, it's very still hush hush. Well, not as much than when we were younger. I mean,
sex sells, but don't be a slut.
Yeah. Yeah. But
it's freaking mixed messages.
Yeah.
All over the place.
I'm glad that you're here today to really bring light to it and explain it's more than that. Like even the flirting part, like it's energy exchange, and we all have flirted. You know, we all have we have all, you know, we all had kids. A lot of us had kids, so we all know where they come from.
Yeah.
So, what is the one thing you wish women understood about choosing themselves first?
I feel like we talked to it a bit already.
Yeah.
Number one, the first relationship is the one with yourself and your body. So if you don't love yourself and you don't love your body, how could you possibly offer that to somebody else? How could you possibly attract the kind of partner that you want? So if you don't love yourself, you're going to attract a partner who will beat you up the same way you beat yourself up. And speaking from experience, I know that I'm my worst critic. Yeah. So
guilty.
Am I safe to walk through the hallways of my mind, or am I attacking myself at every turn? Can you ask the question again? Because there was something else.
It's how do we choose ourselves first? How do you love yourself more? Do you have any tips to help people to love their bodies more, to accept, like, is it just turning the lights off all the time? Like, how do we get to accepting all our beautiful curves and our bodies?
I have a really simple one that whoever's on right now or watching the replay, let's do it right now. So get comfortable in your seat.
Oh, we're going to do an exercise.
Yeah, let's do it right now. Let's do it.
All right. Get ready, girls. It's exercise time. Ready?
Okay, not lifting weight exercise time.
Oh, okay.
Just to be clear. So if it feels comfortable, close your eyes. And if that doesn't feel comfortable, a soft downward gaze is just great. And take a couple deep breaths. And as you exhale, notice your body really sink into the chair or into the floor, and feel that energy go down into the earth and even mingle with the earth. And as you inhale, imagine that you're pulling that vibrant, lively earth energy up through your body and sharing it with the universe out through the top of your head. And then you gather that universal energy and pull it down as you exhale through your head, through your body, and share it with the earth. And really notice that you're relaxing, that you're settling in your seat. And I want you to bring your attention to a part of your body that you love beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's easy to love. And it doesn't have to be a physical attribute. And bring a smile to your face. And if it doesn't feel natural, make it a goofy one. Tell yourself a joke first, but a really big, awesome, radiant smile, like those flirty smiles. And shower that smile and that energy down on that body part. And notice how it lands. What happens when that part of your body or that attribute, that quality, receives that love and attention? And if you can, expand that circle of love and gratitude, appreciation, one more cell out. And one more cell out. And if only one cell out is as far as you can, that's already reaching your outer limits. Awesome. Fill that circle up with all that juicy energy, with all that love, with all that appreciation. And if you are able to expand it, keep expanding it. Notice how far you can expand it. And as you notice different pieces of your body being included in it, give them very specific appreciation. So it could be, maybe you started with your heart because it's so open and loving despite all that's happened in your life. Maybe it's your smile because you love your smile. Maybe it's your teeth because they're straight enough that you can have a big, beautiful, open smile, whatever it is. Just take a couple more breaths and really feel that. If you want to add a little bit of extra juice to it, do a couple of hip circles. Because our sexual energy is our only renewable resource. And it's for us and us alone. We get to choose whether we share it. Mm-hmm. Thanks for asking. I feel amazing now.
Oh, that feels so good. I was feeling tingles and I love it. Thank you so much, everybody. What a beautiful exercise to, like you said, one more cell, love one more cell. I'm like, oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, because sometimes what happens is if we try to extend that love to too much of our body too quickly, it actually puts us into fight or flight mode, which shuts us down. So if we want to keep that pleasure going, we need to stay basically like just right under the radar and just slowly, incrementally.
Yes. Lisa, we have a question in the audience from Christine. How would you suggest to open up the conversation with your spouse if the door was shut on your intimacy years ago, but by both of us?
That's a good question. First of all, I have to say I appreciate that it was both of you that shut the door because I think it might make the conversation a little bit easier. It's not like,
It takes two. It usually takes two to make or break a relationship, right?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Thank you for the question.
I guess the way I work is I tend to have a lot more questions before I give an answer so that I can understand better. Was it Christina?
Christine, yeah.
Christine, what's the rest of your relationship like? What are conversations like? Are they quite comfortable?
So to open up conversation. Well, sometimes, like in my experience, I had to show up first. I had to initiate, like to get it going. And I'm okay taking the first step to initiate. I don't know,
I would think because Christine's asking the question that she's okay taking the first step.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is there are a couple of things. So I talked about hitting that threshold for fight or flight. So the first thing is to like really soothe your body and remind yourself that you're safe as you're having this conversation, because I would imagine that opening that back up again might feel really scary and might create shutdown. What helps with conversations like that is when you sit relatively close to each other. I find that if you have that realization, that you probably won't be blameful because you already have that awareness. Go in with curiosity, with playfulness, sit close to each other, face each other, look at each other in the eyes. You could even do some eye gazing. I don't know if you've ever done that before. That's incredibly intimate and doesn't involve touch. I mean, there's a lot of exercises. Now I don't even know how to talk. One I've not had the pleasure of doing myself, but I've seen people do it, is talking about fears, loves, and desires. So you could start with fears and say, I'm really worried about having this conversation with you because I don't want to make it sound like I'm blaming you, but this is something that's been on my mind. Then you could say, these are the things I love about you.
Yes.
And then you can say, this is what I desire with our intimacy. Does that?
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I hope, Christine, that will help. And then because we're wrapping up the 30-minute mark, I'm just going to have to ask a couple more questions, and then we'll dance our way out soon. So, Lisa, what the heck is a jade egg? What is that? What's that?
It's a tool. It's an amazing tool. I brought mine. Well, not mine. I brought one out so I could hold it up because I forgot I gave the picture. So it's literally an egg made out of jade. It's a holistic tool for your sexuality. So if you think of, and we're going to use Kegels as an example because a lot of women know what Kegels are and know why they would do Kegels. I'm going to assume. So if you don't, please say you don't. So Kegels and working out are quite similar. They're very physiologically body-based, right? Whereas a jade egg is more like yoga. There's a physical element, there's an emotional, a psychological element, and a spiritual element. So it's a focusing tool, and you can use it to tone your vaginal muscles. So another thing is a lot of women want a tighter vaginal canal. Okay, I don't know about you, but when my neck muscles are tight, it's not pleasant.
Okay.
Welcome to Alltech Lansing.
Sorry.
That's okay. So we actually want toned muscles, and those are muscles that have the strength to do whatever it is they need to do, but they're toned, which means they can also fully relax. So a lot of times when women have prolapse or incontinence, it's actually that the muscles have been working really hard because other muscles are too weak, that they've been working really hard, they've been really tight, and then they lose their strength over time. So where Kegels are, and just to be clear, I'm informed, I'm not an expert, but I have experienced the jade egg for myself. And to this day, I've not experienced incontinence or prolapse, and it actually happens in a larger portion of the population than we know about, because women are frankly too embarrassed to talk to their doctors about it. So
Yeah.
the jade egg is a focusing tool that allows you to, number one, connect with your pelvis. How many of us were encouraged to pay attention to what's going on in our pelvis, to know what that yes, that no, and that maybe feels like before penetration? Were you? I wasn't. And I let people penetrate me, including myself, way too soon.
Okay.
All the time, which is part of the reason that my body was like, nope, we're out. You're not listening to us. We've tried to talk. So it's a focusing tool that involves your whole body, not just the muscles of your vaginal canal.
Okay.
So and a lot of people that I've spoken to know about the jade egg. There are different stones that the jade egg can be made out of, but many of them are not recommended. I use jade because I know jade is dense enough. It doesn't have cracks in it that would allow your vaginal juice to get in and then harbor bacteria. You clean it every time after you use it. Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes people, I've read gynecologists, they're like, yeah, but bacteria can live inside and give you toxic shock syndrome. Well, it depends on the type of stone you use. A lot of people are into crystals and they love, actually have one, quartz crystal. But if you
Right.
look at quartz crystal, you can see it's got fissures in it. I don't know if you can see that.
Okay. Okay.
And those fissures are cracks in it that, so yeah, if you bought an egg, they call them yoni eggs if they're not made out of jade, you could get an infection from that because it does have cracks in it and it might shatter. I've heard stories where a woman's yoni egg has shattered. I don't think it was internal when it shattered, but it could shatter.
Right.
So yeah, that's briefly what a jade egg is. So it gives you a better connection to your body, a more loving connection. Yeah.
So another connecting activity that you took part is dancing. Can you tell us about this picture, Lisa? It looks like you're stretching your back. Is that what you're doing?
Right? That was at my birthday party in 2017. I tried a pole dancing party, which was hilarious.
Yes.
It was fun and it hurt, just to let you know, like, I'm like, you can't look sexy the first time you do that class. It is awkward. I bruised the top of my foot.
I think you look awesome there, but
Well,
it looks like these are fun activities to get in touch. It's great activities to get in touch with our bodies, you know?
Totally. And I think the beauty about doing something like pole dancing is you're not doing it for anybody else's gaze. You're doing it for yourself. It's about being as silly as you want to. I don't know if you saw the movie True Lies with Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Thank you, Chantal.
Sorry, which movie again? True Lies?
True Lies.
Yes, yes.
Where she's trying to seduce him and she's dancing and she falls, and I'm like, that would totally be me. So to be able to go to a pole dance studio and be as sexy and silly and awkward as I want to be and just have fun and it's safe. Yeah. I don't know if I'd ever do it again. Really hurt. It hurt.
Oh my.
It hurt. But again, the sense of empowerment you would get to be able to do those spins and lift your body and all those things is amazing. But
that's awesome.
It's hard work.
Yeah, I've never tried it, so I might have to. So,
your next birthday party, I'll come.
Okay. I'm going to turn 25. No. Just joking. So is there any we're just going to wrap up the show.
Yeah.
Before you tell us where we can reach you, is there any things that you would like us to know before?
Last pieces of wisdom?
Yes.
I think I just want to reiterate that your sexual energy is yours and yours alone. It's a renewable resource. And I don't think I said this, but you can use it for whatever you want to in your life. And that when your cup is overflowing, life is good and you don't become resentful. Often we're taught as women to give until we have nothing to give anymore.
Yes.
And that is not sustainable. It's not fun. It's not pleasurable. Actually, I have a story. I was offered to drive my son somewhere. And it was kind of out of the way of where we were initially going to go. And he looked at me and he said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Because he says, "I know people who just say yes to say yes." I said, "Yeah, Damien, I know I was one of those people, but I'm getting better now that before I even offer anything, I make sure that I'm actually really okay and interested in doing whatever I'm offering to do." So it was very interesting for me that he understood that and allowed me the space, even like he checked in with me.
So ladies, everybody listen up. Don't say yes if you don't mean it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even
out of self-love.
You don't even have to say no. You can say, let me think about it. Because sometimes being in that space is uncomfortable enough that you can't get clarity on how you really feel about it. So you could say, "Can I get back to you on that?" It doesn't have to be no.
Yeah. That's awesome advice. I hope everybody listened to that. And Lisa, where can we find you?
So right now I'm for sure on Facebook. Eventually coming to more venues. Yeah. Eventually coming to more venues. So on Facebook, it's at Lisa Letwin Coaching .com. I keep thinking that's what it is. And you can see it scrolling at the bottom.
Yes. Everybody, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see where you can reach Lisa.
Yeah.
Lisa Life Coaching on Facebook.
Lisa
So
Letwin Coaching. Yeah.
And let me tell you, she's such a loving, kind soul. And if you want to reach out to her, you'll be in good hands. And I fully encourage you to. And Lisa, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show. I think we could have kept talking for another half an hour, but
for sure.
We're actually at 40 minutes. We did a little extra bonus section.
Yeah. Well, and quickly, so on my page, you can sign up for my newsletter, and so you can receive more practices and more reminders, because usually we know the truth. We just need to be reminded, because there's so much coming at us all the time. But also I offer a 45-minute sustainably sexy session, and that's where you and I sit down on video one-on-one, and you can ask me more questions, and you can find out more about what it would be like working with me. I am working on putting together a program. Dana knows a little bit about it, called Finding Pleasure in the Middle of Chaos. So I do have various offerings, and maybe one of them will be a good fit for you if you're interested and you've loved what we've talked about.
Awesome. So lots of fun programs, ladies, and that's mostly ladies that sign up for it, right? So far, I think. Or you can do both. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So this is a wrap up, and I hope that you enjoyed the show, everybody. It was such a pleasure having my friend Lisa. And here's one of her favorite songs. We're going to dance our way out. So have a great week, everybody. Kisses, love, and be happy. We want you to have it all. All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, all that you can imagine. Oh.